I'm sure you've heard of Canada at least once, but do you know what kind of country Canada is like? Canada is a peaceful country, but also full of energy. It's a place with stunning landscapes and wildlife, along with the beautiful capital city of Ottawa. Canada is also known as one of the best countries to live in the world. This country has many unique aspects that surprise tourists with its customs and cultural tradition. I'm Honey Badger. Let's explore Canada right now. Canada, the land of maple leaves. Canada is a beautiful country, located in the northernmost part of North America, with an area of about 10 million square kilometers. With this size, Canada is the second largest country in the world, only after Russia. Canada stretches from the Atlantic Ocean in the east to the Pacific Ocean in the west, bordering the Arctic Ocean in the north and the United States in the south. In fact, Canada has the longest coastline of any other country in the world. To the south, Canada shares nearly 9,000 kilometers of land border with the US, which is also the longest land border in the world. Let's talk about the size of Canada. Canada bigger than the entire European Union combined. It's 33 times larger than Italy, 30% larger than Australia, 5 times larger than Mexico, and 3 times larger than India. This country has a massive land area, but in terms of population, it only makes up about 0.5% of the world's population, which is just over 38 million people. 38 million people living in an area of nearly 10 million square kilometers. This shows that Canada has the lowest population density on Earth. So about 90% of Canada's land area is uninhabited. 90% of Canada's population lives 500 kilometers away from the US border. These two countries have a very close relationship, but they have also had conflicts in the past. Canadians have made their own influence, so Canada is still a country with strong European elements. It's also known as an immigrant nation. From 1990 to 2008, Canada's population increased by over 5 million people. The increase here is not due to a high birth rate in Canada, but because the number of immigrants coming to Canada is increasing. On average, 1/10 of the world's refugees come to Canada every year to seek stability in life. Why do Canadians live near the border with the United States? Because this is a warmer region than other parts of Canada. As you go further north in Canada, the weather gets colder. This country stretches from east to west, from 4th time zone to 9th time zone. Canada has a very diverse climate. The climate in Canada also has clear differentiation. The north is covered in snow all year round, but the south is divided into 4 distinct seasons. The hottest time is summer, with temperatures ranging from about 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. The coldest time is winter, with an average temperature below 0 degrees Celsius. Many places even have an average temperature of minus 25 degrees Celsius. Each season in Canada has different characteristics. Additionally, because Canada is located near the Arctic, so this country has a short summer and a long winter. A large country with no shortage of land. A country friendly to nature, with vast forests in northern Canada. This is the habitat of many wild animals such as bears, wolves, deer, lions, seals, and other smaller animals. Canada's rivers and lakes contain about 20% of the world's freshwater. Canadians know how to protect wildlife and live close to nature. The country has a total of 41 national parks and other large nature reserves. There are even nature reserves in Canada that cover an area of up to 44,000 square kilometers. Why is it called Canada? It's the story of Spanish explorers. They came to this land in the Americas in search of wealth and riches. When nothing is found here, they said to each other, "A Canada, mean nothing in here." Many years later, when Jacques Cartier and French explorers arrived in Canada, they were curious about the name of this land. Then they encountered the indigenous people. The indigenous people shouted at them, "A Canada," meaning there is nothing in here, don't search anymore. However, the French believed this was the name of the land, and the name Canada was born from that. Before our modern times, about 30,000 years ago. At that time, the Bering Strait was not the sea as it's now. It was a land bridge for migration from Asia to the Americas, and was the birthplace of Canada's first indigenous tribes. Around 1000 BC, a Viking explorer named Leif Erikson came to Canada. The Vikings established settlements in Canada. In the 16th century, the French and the English arrived in Canada, and conflicts occurred. Now let's explore other interesting facts about Canada. Canada is also known as the polar bear capital. That is Churchill, a town far to the north. This northern Manitoba town has very few residents, except for a few Inuit communities and research stations. But the freezing cold and isolation are not the only challenges people here face. Their biggest threat is the polar bears. Some say that, in this town, no one locks their cars. Everyone learns to coexist with polar bears, learn how to defend themselves whenever encounter them. Cars always unlocked because, in case of a polar bear attack, the residents can quickly jump into the car, lock the doors, or move to another place to avoid the polar bears. In the town of Churchill, there is a place called the Polar Bear Prison. This prison is for polar bears with bad behavior and aggressive. These polar bears bother the residents. They will be drugged and carefully transported to this prison by the police. More precise, this prison is like a short-term zoo. These polar bears will be kept in these cells for 30 days. Only eat snow and water to prevent them from returning to the town in search of food. After these polar bears wake up, they will be brought back and released into the wild at the end of the season and marked for continued monitoring in the future. Repeat offenders will be imprisoned for more than 30 days. If a polar bear is deemed unable to be released back into the wild for various reasons, such as being too young or too old, it will be transferred to Assiniboine Park Zoo in Winnipeg. Canada has the longest highway in the world. Stretching from the west coast of the Pacific Ocean and pass through all 10 provinces of Canada to the east coast of the Atlantic Ocean, the Trans-Canada Highway is certainly one of the most magnificent highways on the planet, with a total length of 7,820 kilometers. This highway goes through almost everywhere in Canada, including the freezing cold regions. The highway starts from the Victoria City in the province of British Columbia and goes all the way to the Newfoundland border of Canada. Along this highway are enchanting landscapes, from vast forests to majestic mountains. Canada officially became a multicultural country in 1971, when the government began to recognize the value of all Canadian citizens, regardless of their race, ethnicity, language, or religion. At this time, the government also recognized the value of Indigenous peoples and declared English and French as the country's official languages, with equal status and importance. When you first arrive in Canada, you will be living in a multicultural environment. This requires you to consider a few points. All citizens and residents living and working in Canada must comply with Canadian laws, including the Canadian Constitution and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Canada prohibits all forms of racial discrimination based on origin, skin color, religion, gender, age, health, or mental status. Additionally, newcomers to Canada are encouraged to learn English or French, the country's official languages. Canada doesn't accept hatred and violence. Some people come to Canada but hold attitudes of hatred or prejudice towards a particular race or ethnicity. However, this is not allowed in Canada. Everyone has the right to preserve their own culture, and we must respect that. If the US has the Loch Ness Monster, then Canada has the Ogopogo. Ogopogo is the name of a legendary aquatic monster considered to be Canada's version of the Loch Ness Monster. Rumors about Ogopogo started to emerge in 2018 when many groups of tourists claimed to have seen this creature. On September 12, 2018, David Halbauer and his brother Keith, along with their family, were enjoying a picnic by the lake when they discovered a strange creature. As they sat by the lake, they saw a peculiar black creature, about 15 meters long, resembles a large snake swimming. Prior to this, many people claimed that the first appearance of this aquatic monster was in 1972. Some individuals who claimed to have encountered this creature described it as having a long body and head resembles a horse head. Notably, in 2015, Bill Stesiak encountered a creature-like snake about 150 meters away. He quickly grabbed his camera and captured an image of this mysterious creature. He believes it is a photo of the Ogopogo monster. Canada is the country with the most maple trees in the world. In fact, maple trees originated in Asia. With their diverse development, there are approximately 150 different types of maple trees worldwide. Out of these 150 types, only around 13 maple species can thrive and grow well in North America. Canada is a part of North America, so considered the land of maple leaves. Out of the 13 maple species that can thrive in North America, 10 of them can grow and thrive in Canada. Perhaps that's why maple trees are planted all over this country. Not only forests filled with maple trees, but also every road and village. Everywhere you look, you can see the presence of maple trees. Up until now, with its strong vitality, maple trees have been planted extensively in Canada. It can be said that Canada is the land of maple trees. According to statistics, the number of maple trees planted in Canadian territory accounts for about 65% of the total forest area in the country. This makes Canada become the country with the most maple trees in the world. What's special is that they have incorporated maple leaves into production. They have created a very special, attractive, and nutritious syrup called maple syrup. Maple syrup is the trademark of Canada. In the world, there are many different types of syrup. But when mentioned maple syrup, everyone immediately associates it with Canada. Currently, Canada supplies 85% of the world's maple syrup. This is the success, the image promotion that has made the brand of this country. That is the ends of our journey to Canada today, the country known as the land of maple trees. Thank you for watching the video. I'm Honey Badger. If you find it interesting and have more information about this country, share it in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to receive the latest videos. Now goodbye, and see you in the next videos.